Hi, everybody in 5th through 8th grade. We have a Wednesday computer class, and I am going to talk about a couple things that you can do. Just as a quick note, my original thinking, my original plan with the way that things were going to go is that we would actually start on the website Scratch this week. If you don't know what that website is, it's okay. Don't worry about it too much right now. But as some things have changed about what's happened in our school building, some things have come up, and also in looking at it and the fact that we would be starting something which is a little complex, very detail oriented, that you really need to pay good attention to and work hard on. And for some of you, it is brand new. For some of you, you have done it with me. I thought starting that as something brand new the week before we finish for Christmas break probably was not the best idea. So for computer class, regular computer class, that is the next thing that we really want to work on and start doing is working with the website Scratch. It has to do with coding, it has to do with programming, and I love it most of the time. People wind up liking it a lot. It's just not good timing to start that this week. So I'm going to give you a quick, and hopefully this is a very, very short video. I'm going to give you a quick overview of how this week is going to work. Next week, I am trying to put together a few fun holiday related things for you guys. And then get ready because in 2021, the week that we get back and are back having classes after Christmas break, we are going to be starting on that website Scratch and a program, a couple different things that I have come up with that we're going to be doing this year. Now, for today, let me show you this that I made up, and we're going to go through it together. This also means that hopefully you're watching this video because I found that a lot of people have questions because they don't watch the videos and don't know what's going on. But this is going to be a catch up and extra practice week, so let's go through a few things. I am sorry to the people that turn these in on time, and this does not apply to you, but for everyone that I emailed last week, if you are someone who has not finished and turned in that Google Slide project, this is the last time I'm going to mention it. It is already in as a 0 in the grade book that we use. It is already bringing your grade down, and I really hate to do that, really don't want it to be that way. But if you have not finished and turned in that Google Slide project that we worked on for 5 weeks, you need to do that. And that is the one and primary thing that you need to do and get that finished. And let me stop rearranging my document. Now, as always, you can always do this, but it's a reminder because I feel like sometimes we forget typing.com, extramath.org, and Raz Kids. Typing for all 5th through 8th grade, extra math and Raz Kids for only for 5th and 6th. But see, typing.com, that's something that I really recommend you do every week during computer class time. You could even go on it a couple times a week outside of class, but that is something that should be getting done, and these are things that you can do. If you enjoyed or liked the code.org main page or code.org with accounts that we went over last week, I guarantee that there are hours and hours and hours that you could spend there and do more. I don't have an exact length of time required. Last week I brought them up just to say these are available, these are great for learning and practice. You can go back on them and do other things that you didn't before, try things that you liked, go back to the lessons. I highly recommend, and I know I mentioned one more site this week, but I'm going to break it down to these two. And actually going to say them out of order. If you have an iPad or a MacBook available, I don't know if it's a MacBook is very likely, but an iPad, Swift Playgrounds is a free download. It will not cost you anything. If it's okay with mom and dad or whoever at home, you can download that app. Okay. If you can't, for whatever reason, you don't have that device or you're not allowed, whatever it may be, these websites, it's one website, I just said it two different ways, Crunchzilla's Code Monster, it really is very similar to Swift Playgrounds in some basic ways, and I would recommend you going on there because they are excellent, they are great. I'll show you something about it in a second. And last but not least, Touring Scratch, at least in one particular way, which I'll also show you in just a sec. So, those are the things on the menu for today. If you have issues, questions, problems with any of this, please send me an email. Please give me a comment in Google Classroom, one of those two. Now, one, two, three, all of these things everybody in 5th through 8th grade should be familiar with, should know, shouldn't really have any questions about. We've been through them all. Right here, Swift Playgrounds. I can't really give much direction for because that's an app you need to download. You look it up in the Apple App Store. It's not available from Google Play or anything else, but in the Apple App Store, if you have an iPad or if you have a MacBook, and it's free. Crunchzilla or Code Monster, I'll just mention very quickly, and we're going to go to Weymouth Portal. We'll actually be there for two things. Now, I could type in Crunchzilla, I could type in Code Monster, I could find those sites, but in Weymouth Portal, I have direct links to help you guys navigate to things. And if I look down in the list right here in Computers and Technology, Crunchzilla, Code Monster is right here. Takes us to the website crunchzilla.com, where Code Monster is kind of the first in their series of these coding or computer programming learning apps. And Code Monster, like I mentioned last week, it is awesome in the way that it's designed so that it gives you a little tutorial of how real lines of code, text-based coding, results in different things happening in a program. So you go through these, and it would be painful for me to sit here and go through them all, and you watch because it's really something you can do on your own. But it says, I'm Code Monster. Click on my words to see what's next. Click. You're going to learn some programming. Click again. Below me on the left is JavaScript. Let me try that again. JavaScript code. On the right, what it does. Now, this is very similar to Swift Playgrounds. JavaScript is a language, a coding language, just like Swift is a coding language. So they are different, but a lot of the things about them are the same or very similar. So even though this is not Swift Playgrounds, it gives you a really similar experience or a similar bit of education and practice. Okay, so JavaScript, written, real code that's really used to make the websites, apps, games, programs, things that you use in life, written over here, and the results over here on the right. You can use the fill rect and parentheses to draw a box. See the number 50. Can you change that to 150? So look what this means. This line of code says fill rect, meaning a filled in rectangle, and then the parentheses are its parameters. Each one of these numbers does something, and it's saying, see the number 50, change it to 150. Now, I'm not even going to go on, but I'm just going to start thinking, oh, I changed that to 150, and it changed its width. So that might be the parameter with its width. Well, if that's what that is, then I wonder what this is. Let's change this 75 to 150. Oh, that's its height. So now I just made that rectangle into a square, 150 by 150. Now, what do these other things do? The 20, the 20. Well, let's see if I change that to a 10. Oh, it looked like it moved a tiny bit. What if I change it to 100? Oh, so that must be its spacing from left to right or horizontally. So that number that's in the first parameter must change those things. I can go to 150. I could try out some others. And now there's a 20 here left over. Okay, if I use logic and I say this was the horizontal size, this was the vertical size, this was the horizontal spacing or alignment, this must be the vertical spacing or alignment. Let's give it 100, and look at that, it moved down. And I'm checking and seeing how just a little bit of experimentation, learning, thinking about this text-based coding can have results that I instantly see over here. And if you can get that concept, going through the rest of this is so educational to give you an idea of how coding works. So I highly recommend it. And last but not least, I said Tour Scratch. Now, one mistake that people make is they say, okay, Mr. Henderson wants us to go on Scratch, scratch.com. And no, this is a DJing website or something like that that I don't really get into because I'm not a DJ. So, I don't want to go there. I want to go to scratch.mit.edu. That is in Portal, or I could type it in, and it's linked right down here where it says Scratch. Now, when I say tour scratch.com, this is something we are going to use together. You are going to have logins that will get the week that we come back, but what you could do is you can explore it and you can see little apps, programs that other people have made. You can check them out. You can look by category that it has up here. And I recommend, even though I know some people are going to look at games, look at some of the others too with stories, music, art, animations, and see all the different things, the different types of things that you can do in Scratch. Maybe get some ideas, maybe get some inspiration. And if you are not familiar, if you haven't had me in the past and we've used Scratch, here's what's awesome about it. this might look like, oh, Mr. Henderson's just telling us to play these little flash games or look at this flash game site. But if I go to games and let me see a simple one, simple scrolling platformer engine. Let's click on that. Well, not only can you try out other people's programs, try out other people's apps, which I am right here, and there's some information, but what's really, really important is after you try it, so I go ahead and I see, oh, there's a blue box, and I can move them, and I can jump, and I can do these things. Well, wait a minute. How did he do that? How did he make that? How complicated is it? Is it something I could do? Is it something I could just take a part of and maybe use in my own program? Is it something where I could use his whole program as something of mine, but change a few things around? Like I think instead of a box, this would be really cool if it was a jelly donut or a monster face or whatever the case may be. So Scratch has a way that you can see inside. It's like dissecting how people made these things. And you can look and you can see, oh, these are the sprites that the person used. This is the black backdrop that the person used. This is the code for the sprite that's the blue box. This is the code for the sprite that's the ground. This is the code for the well, to tell you the truth, I'm not exactly. Oh, I'm sorry. That is the scenery. That's what he's jumping on and everything. In any case, I'm not asking you to do anything formally, turn anything into any work, but check it out because all of these things in Scratch you can make too. You can learn yourself. You can experiment with on your own. So check out the site, see what it's like, and that is see the things that other people have made, and that is the last task or idea that I had for you today. So spend some time with those things. Let me know if you need anything. Next week, we're just going to have a little bit of a fun day. I'm trying to put a few things together. And then, week after we get back from Christmas break, we are going to start making an awesome Scratch project. Maybe even two awesome Scratch projects. We'll see how it goes. Everybody take care. We'll have to see if we get to have any sledding or snowball fights between today and tomorrow. Hope you're staying warm, and I'll see you next week.